Yo, okay, we're gonna talk about animation. Animation's a brand new feature in 1.3, so you know what that means. That means it's gonna barely work. Okay, so in animation, basically this reads all the player animations. This is basically kind of an upgrade. Uh, Not really an upgrade. It's translated from the NPC inspect, right, which is this mode, right? We'll go watch that video on how this works. But I learned in here that I can trigger animations. So then I figured, we should use this to trigger animations on the player characters so we can do cool things. Maybe it's for photos, maybe it's for videos. It's probably for those two things. There's really no other purpose besides that. But in those purposes, now we can kind of create better cinema. Anyway, so it's all going to be preloaded. You load into this this section, and you'll see here we have emotes. We have a bunch of different player actions. They're all sectioned out for you. And you have different montages, which do include the weapon stuff, but also include some other things too. Is everything going to work? Yes, but no. Some things require things. Like it might require a piece of equipment to be on. It might be expected to be triggered between a certain thing. It's really more experimental for you to play with. But anyway, it does work. So here we are just randomly in the world. If I click on this and I click play animation, it's going to do exactly what you expect. It's going to emote. It's very simple concept. Everything in here is basically exactly that. You can just right click and do it, right? And then you'll see that animation occur. The one cool kind of thing I'd say that does exist in here is there's movement stuff, which is kind of interesting. That because it does actually move the player character, right? So neat, right? Because we can trigger this through this menu. So you could technically hotkey this by making it a mod, and then you make it a mod, then you assign a hotkey, and now you have a different method of doing it. And there's also surge in here, so that's kind of interesting too, because it's triggerable in this menu. So yeah, I mean, cool things you can do with this. You just kind of experiment. It's really for you to kind of figure out what you can do. It doesn't. In some cases, it doesn't require a certain thing. So here you can see it's doing axe wood cutting down, and I can probably equip a hammer and do it, and it won't care. It'll just do it with the hammer. It's gonna look weird because it's not supposed to, right? But perhaps you want a weird shot like that, or like bed sleep. I bet this makes the character lay down, right? Yeah, okay. So he's trying to lay down with the hammer in his hand, right? And then there's our player character on the ground. And yep, I can move around. Okay. So I mean, yeah, it basically hijacks the animation system and lets us play with animations. And then use that as you see fit, right? Basically, that's all it's for. It's not like the craziest thing, but perhaps it is if you are trying to do stuff for cinema, photo, video related things, right? Then this might be like the jackpot for you, because you can now trigger animations on demand. And you know that camera service, well, you might not know. If you watch a camera service video in 1.3, you can add commands to the camera service. You can trigger animations during your shot sequences, right? And this is basically granting you access to that. But that's basically it. That's your animation section. It's not for combat. There is a combat service section that also came out in 1.3 that allows you to trigger combat related things. And I'm going to talk about that next. But anyway, this is your animation section. Yeah, basically every player animation's in here. You just kind of hit play, and you have your own personal list if you want to, because that's like the norm of this dev kit is that you can always create your own personal list. But yeah, you can now, trigger any animation and it'll just do it through this menu. All right, peace.